What's up, peeps? It's your boy Casey Hill. What's going on with this kid is crazy. Quick story time. So this was decades ago. I'm retired military, as you can probably see by the shirt. I use these workout shirts now, but I had a kid that worked for me, and I remember we had an incident. I couldn't stand the kid. Right? I won't say his name. He's not a kid anymore. He's grown, probably got grandkids at this point. But I couldn't stand him, and I remember we had an incident, and he was like, "You act like I'm just some punk B," said the B word. And I remember looking at him and was like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. The kid was crushed. He was crushed. I'll never forget how he just went off. And not at me, because I probably would have fought him, but he went off just like, I can't believe you said that about me, blah, 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 blah. And I learned in that situation that sometimes, even in the same situations, people view things differently. I hated the kid. He loved working for me. And I had to learn that lesson. I think Shedeur is probably going through that a little bit. He felt like he was killing the interviews, right? He felt like he was doing great. And as he drove off, I think people closed the doors and was like, I hate this kid. And for that, you're never gonna hire somebody that you hate. I'm a recruiter. That's what I do. I've never been in a room where we were talking about hiring people and it was like, the kid seemed like he can do the good job, but I hate him. Okay, let's give him a shot. That's never the case. If your personality is pushing people away or rubbing them the wrong way, anybody in that room, if your talent has to be at an elite level. Unfortunately for Shedeur, he has Deion Sanders' confidence, but he doesn't have Deion Sanders' elite ability. Dion had that same brashness, everything going for him, but he was something that we had never seen before. And I think for him to have that confidence or to be walking to those rooms so unapologetically himself, not playing the game is something that black people have spoke about our entire lives because we know sometimes we turn off decision makers because they feel threatened or whatever that may be. That is something that is a real conversation that takes place in the black community. Play the game. Shedeur did not play the game. Sometimes you bet on yourself and you lose. I get that. But here's the second factor, and I think might be the biggest one. So if he turned off a few of, there was only like 5 teams that needed a quarterback, and if he turned off 3 of those teams, then it's only 2, right? Probably those 2 probably were in weird situations as far as job security. Now, let me take you back. Deion Sanders did not start coaching until Shedeur started playing. He didn't coach when Deion Sanders Jr. played. He wasn't that good anyway. He didn't coach with Shiloh, I don't think, in the beginning. But when Shedeur, the quarterback, started playing, he was like, I need to be your offensive coordinator because they ain't doing me right. They ain't doing my son right. Subsequently, the head coach guided his career throughout college. Beautifully, by the way, because I never thought the kid was an elite talent, but man, he can play. So imagine you are a GM or coach and you start off 0-4 after picking Shiloh. After picking Shedeur. What do you think the rumblings are going to be? Now you're worried about your job. I don't think it's a coincidence that the moment that Shedeur and Shiloh decided, hey, we going pro finally, Deion started having these preliminary talks with the Cowboys. Everybody knows, or I think it's a reasonable assumption that if you're on the coaching staff, my son, which was supposed to be a first or second round draft pick, if you picked him there, you're not getting rid of him now because he's locked into these guaranteed contracts. Teams would start considering bringing Deion in for their jobs. So I think part of it was he didn't interview well, or he thought he did great, but the people could not stand him. And then second, and probably most importantly, people felt threatened by the idea of Deion coming and taking their jobs. In part because he can do the job, and then second, to coach his son the right way. Good luck to the kid. My heart goes out to him. I know he's rich, but he's still a human being. People prank calling this kid, all this other stuff. That needs to stop. I hope he comes in, shows that he's a true football player, and I hope he does great. I hope he's a great teammate. I hope he learns from this, and I hope he has a phenomenal Hall of Fame career.